Good Wednesday evening, listeners, and welcome to another edition of Conversations of a Sister here on YouTube. I don't know what happened tonight. It was like I pressed to go live and it just did something else. So I had to kind of go out and come in again. It was a little weird, but here we are. Welcome to Conversations of a Sister here on YouTube. So, for those of you who may be tuning in tonight, I am now live here on our Conversations of a Sister YouTube channel. And I'm in the tri state area, New Jersey, New York, and it is raining cats and dogs here. It has been raining all day. So it is a gloomy Wednesday evening. But what better than to sit back and have good conversation here with me on Conversations of a Sister? So, for those of you who may be tuning in, just tuning in, or coming in, welcome to the show. For tonight's conversation, I did a very short blurb, PSA, comment statement about tonight's show. Yesterday, Instagram was down and everybody acted as if the world was going to end. People were like having a fit. They were like, what the hell? People thought the world was ending because Instagram went down. So that was all the talk. That was all the buzz. But as busy as I was, I didn't have to post anything about the show yesterday. I didn't have time to. So today I did a quick blurb. And for those of you who may not know or have not seen it on my Instagram page because you don't follow Conversations of a Sister on Instagram, you actually should. But tonight's conversation is, why do celebrities bleach? Why are celebrities bleaching their skin? And maybe this is not a fad for just celebrities. Maybe this is something that people do when they're not happy or pleased with the way that they look. They start bleaching their skin. I wanted to talk about it because I was on Instagram the other day and someone posted a video of Serena Williams, the tennis player. And in this video, she was talking about how you have to be your authentic self. You have to just allow yourself to be yourself. And she went on talking about how you have to be proud of yourself and, accepting self. It was basically a comment, a statement, and a conversation around one's self worth. And I think that somebody I follow, we follow each other on Instagram. Uh, I was like, okay, this is loaded right here. So I had to comment and I was like, so she's talking about being yourself and, accepting yourself for who you are and how you are, but yet she's bleaching her skin. And I kept looking at her and I was like, you could tell it was so obvious that she's bleaching her skin. Because for those of you who don't know how it works, when you're bleaching your skin, if you're like a particular complexion or your dark skin, when you're bleaching your skin, there's still going to be certain sections of your face and of your neck and of your arms that's going to still be dark. So if you're going to get into bleaching your face, you have to eventually bleach your body because you kind of want everything to match. You want it all to blend in. And I think she had these red, rosy cheeks. So I was like, what is Serena doing? It's almost as if she's trying not to look like herself, but she's trying to look like someone else. But she looked really weird. In fact, I thought she looked like a clown. And I was very disappointed to see that. But then to hear how you have to accept yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and all this about self, self, self. But yet it was apparent that she's bleaching her skin. I remember a couple of years ago, and I was talking to this friend of mine, and he said to me, she hates herself. He was like, she absolutely hates herself. She hates herself because, I've seen the Serena Williams story. I saw how her father raised her and her sister, really got them into tennis. And because she chose to marry someone outside of her race, she hates herself. And I was like, nah, I can't agree with that because you love who you love, You can't help who you fall in love with. And I know that Serena has dated black men before. I know she dated Common, and Common didn't marry her. She dated a couple of others, and they didn't marry her. So I think that her ultimate goal was to get married and have children by a certain age. So therefore, she hooked up with this guy. I think he's from Reddit or a Reddit founder. But at the end of the day, my friend thought she was being desperate, that she hooked up with this white male Caucasian because she hated herself and she wanted to have children that didn't look like her. So in order to have children that don't look like you basically marry outside of your race, and it changes the DNA because you are able to determine what your child will look like and they won't be as dark as you. I mean, it's a sad thought and situation, but I think that is true. I think that sometimes we hate ourselves when we kind of marry outside of our race. I don't know if that's a fair thing to say because I know that it's been a topic of discussion amongst blogs and articles, and people talk about it, and they're saying that, black women especially should not be closed minded to think about only dating within their race. They have to think about dating outside their race. Well, I think if you're going to open your mind to date outside your race, you have to open your mind to have that type of attraction. You know, you have to be able to picture yourself with that person. And I don't know. I don't think that I can picture myself being with anyone or anything other than a black man. Oh, God, I pray that doesn't come back to get me. But I mean, that's my thought. That's what I'm thinking. But anyway, back to the subject. Are people bleaching black celebs, black celebrities especially, because of what? Is it because they feel like they are not attractive in their own skin and they feel like they need to become lighter? Do they feel like they need to become lighter to be attractive? Do they feel more attractive if they are of a lighter complexion? I I guess I can't fathom it because I can't understand it. I think that you have to be nurtured and raised to believe that you have to love yourself regardless. But I'm seeing that Serena Williams is bleaching. I'm seeing that Megan Good. I just saw they had a picture of Megan Good and Jonathan Majors. We all know who Jonathan Majors is. He was accused by his white girlfriend for assault. His career is on the line. He was dropped from a lot of things. Well, his girlfriend now is Megan Good, and it looks like she's bleaching. So when I saw them on the red carpet, they were on a red carpet for something. It might have been the Emmys that they attended. They were on a red carpet for some event. And I looked at Megan Good, and right away I can tell that she's bleaching. Because if you look at her when she played in other roles, other movie roles, and compare her now, she looks more European than ever. When she played in the movie Jumping the Broom, she was darker and she had a nice short haircut. When you look at her now in a recent pic with Jonathan Majors or at recent events, she's lighter. She has this long curly hair. It's almost as if she's trying to look European. And who knows? Maybe at the end of the day, Jonathan liked European women and she's trying to fulfill that fantasy. Who knows? All I know is I can tell that she's bleaching, and I think that's crazy, but I noticed it right away. It also looks like Beyonce's bleaching. Now, with Beyonce, I can't really tell. It's possible because I know she's light skinned, but she's starting to look lighter in the skin. And the fact that she has this blonde hair, I was talking to my girlfriend, I think it was one day last week, and she was like, with that blonde hair, she totally looks like a white woman. So I think that a lot of African American celebrity women are starting to bleach their skin. Maybe they feel as though looking lighter is going to make them more attractive. And I think that with that type of mentality, that is sad. But I'm also hearing that if you're in the limelight, if you're a celebrity, you have to keep up with Holly Weird. On the blogs, they call it Holly Weird, not Hollywood. And they're saying that you have to keep up with it. And in order to keep up with it, I don't know, I guess you have to make yourself look more European because you feel as though that's going to make you look more attractive. So the less natural you are, the better off you are. And I know that this is a standard for America Cup. And the reason why I say that is because recently I know that a bill was passed about the hair law because they wanted, African Americans to not wear braids or locks in the work environment. And I know that in the past, African Americans have been fired for it. So because they have the braids and they have the locks and they look more like their heritage and they're not light, they're dark, I guess it was a threat to some in corporate America. So because light skin is a standard, a Europeanized standard, if you will, that some want to meet that standard. This is why I would say that they are bleaching their skin. Because other than that, it doesn't make sense to me that I would change my identity to meet a standard of an industry. That's crazy. And I had a friend tell me once that they thought that Angela Bassett was also bleaching her skin. They were like, oh my God, I hope she's not because she lost that award to Jamie Lee Curtis. They was like, oh, now Angela's going to start bleaching. And on these blogs and on Instagram, if celebrities look different, they're going to talk about it. And I also know that I think it was Sammy Sosa. Sammy Sosa was even bleaching his skin because he went from dark to completely white. I mean, even when I saw him, I was shocked. It was like you saw him in one instance when he was one color, and then it was like voila. You saw him a couple of months later, and he was completely void of any type of color at all. So I know that even he bleached. But I think that is sad when you are not happy, when you are not satisfied, and when you are not confident in the skin that you're in, because you have to genuinely love yourself in order to not be affected by what society says or deems the norm, because society says it and society believe it. It doesn't mean that you have to give into it. I mean, let's take for instance Michelle Obama. Come on, y'all know white America, they did not like Michelle Obama. They called Michelle all kinds of monkeys. They called her all kinds of ugly. You want to know why? Because Michelle wasn't light skinned. She didn't have long hair flowing down her back. Michelle Obama represented a full bred, 100% Black woman, which is how Barack Obama described his wife. She's 100% African American. So it was like, yeah, my wife is Black. There's nothing white about her. And look how society accepted her. There are those of us who thought she was beautiful, who thinks that she's beautiful. And then there was the other side that felt like she was just ugly, tacky, and had no class. Why? Because she wasn't glamorous. She wasn't always in heels. She wasn't a designer fashion show. Every time she walked out of the White House, she was herself. And let me tell you something. Michelle Obama right now, she's wearing braids in her hair. She's doing her. And she came out recently and said, no, I am not running for president. I will not run for president. That's a rumor. It's not happening, because what she's trying to tell y'all is, hell no, I'm not going back under that type of scrutiny because it's crazy. I have braids in my hair. These braids are not coming out. That is what Michelle Obama is saying, because she already knows what society wants to see. This society here in these United States of America, she already know what they want to see. They want to see the straight hair, the nice permed hair. They don't want to see an afro. They don't want to see anything that's going to make her look like Black power. They want to see a more watered down first lady of color. That's what they want to see. They don't want anything that's going to represent your particular blackness. So when I think about celebrities who bleach their skin, that is what I think, that they are ashamed of who they are, and they are ashamed to be what they are. And don't get me wrong, they call it colorism. Have you all heard of colorism? Colorism is when people are hooked on color. Colorism is when people prefer light over dark. That's color. Rism. I wanted to drink some of my tea. Colorism is when people prefer light people over dark skinned people. That's why a lot of people don't like the term "she's pretty for a dark skinned girl," because they'd be like, okay, so what the hell do you mean by that? I'm pretty for a dark skinned girl. How come I just can't be pretty, period? Why not? But regardless to what you are, I think that you should always carry the mantle that you are proud of it. But I think that society dictates what we deem the norm. For example, if we start seeing celebs bleaching their skin, we're going to have our young people who think that, wow, I want to bleach my skin because it seems to be popular. I don't like being dark. I want to be that color. I want to look like her. I want my hair like this. And you already have a lot of mothers instilling that in their children because they basically hate themselves. But you have to be proud of who you are, regardless to whatever skin that you're in. I think it is sick to think, act, move, or reinvent yourself to be any other way. But people do it for cosmetic reasons. People want to bleach their skin to change their skin tone. They're like, I just want to be a tad lighter. And then, I don't know, I guess being a little bit lighter weighs on their confidence. It makes them all the more confident. I don't know. I mean, for me, there's so many other things to build your confidence in because your skin, to change the skin that you're in, that's not God's will. It's just not. So you're going to bleach your skin to what? To appear to be more attractive? Does it give you some type of importance? Were you scarred as a child? Did you always think that you were ugly? I I don't know. We don't know the voices that live inside of people's heads, especially when they're dealing with insecurities. We don't know. All I know is that when I see things like that, like Serena Williams, and you notice the bleaching, I get sad because she's a tennis great and she has an influence on so many women. And I think that if they see her alter her appearance, then that is going to send a message to them. I just don't think it's a good look. With Beyonce being as light as she is with blonde hair, I see so many women, black women especially, wearing blonde hair. I see so many people like pushing this blonde because it's like, oh my God, look at Beyonce. You shouldn't want to look like Beyonce. You shouldn't want to look like the white girl next door. You should want to look like who you are. And you should want to embrace that because in the end, that's what matters. I mean, let's look at Michael Jackson. They said Michael Jackson had vitiligo. Or vitiligo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But he supposedly had a skin disease. And it's like, where did it come from? How did it originate if he had this skin disease? Because they've taken pictures of Michael when he was 12, lead singer in the Jackson 5, versus how he was before he died. And it was a total transformation. All of the children that Michael Jackson adopted are white children. Their mother is a white woman. That gives me the impression that Michael Jackson hated himself. I know he was self conscious about his nose because that's the one thing that his father teased him about. That came out in one of those biographies. So I know that he was self conscious about his looks, and Michael Jackson was fine. We grew up on Michael Jackson, my siblings and I. He had the afro. When he went through acne, my brothers felt like they could relate because they went through acne. Because that's what you do. You relate to your audience, you relate to your following. But then when he started with this whole bleaching thing, it's like it just, in my opinion, it just got out of hand. Then you bleach and then you change your nose. I mean, look at these celebrities who changing their appearances. They're doing something where they lift their cheeks, they point their nose. They look like cats almost. Janet Jackson had her cheeks lifted. She looks like a cat. You have Cher who had 1,000 and a million surgeries done. I mean, look at Madonna. These are all once beautiful women. Look at Little Kim. Little Kim was bad when she first came out with Biggie Small. She was beautiful. And you should see her now. It's almost like if Biggie came back, he would be like, who the hell is that? Because you can't even recognize her. She's so light and she has these fake hips and she's done all these augmentations to herself. Ladies, embrace who you are and stop following what's not normal because these things are not normal. And I saw Little Kim in concert in August. Her performance was horrible in Yankee Stadium. But I think I sat there in awe because I remember what she used to look like and to see what she looks like now. That for me tells me that she hates herself. Well, she hated herself because she went to great lengths to change what she looked like. Don't change who you are. Don't bleach your skin. Why? Because society says that you should. Really? I dare people to be different. Be who you are. Accept who you are. And accept how God made you. Because that, for me, is the real flex. Because no matter what, you're not changing. You're not changing who you are. You're not getting these facelifts. You are aging gracefully. You're not bleaching your skin. You are aging gracefully. And if people don't like you that way, to hell with them. If a man wants you lighter, tell him to get somebody lighter. In fact, he shouldn't even be attracted to you if that's the case. Because you have women jumping through hoops to look better for a man. And it's like, why? Look better for you. But by golly, don't bleach. Don't follow the celebrity trend to bleach your skin because that is just not cool. When I saw it in Serena Williams, I was very disappointed. And then I had to think about what my friend said when he said she hated herself. He said, I'm telling you, Serena hates herself because with the way that she was raised, and for her to marry outside of her race, that tells me that she hates herself. And I didn't believe it. I was like, nah, you love who you love. And I still believe you love who you love. But I think it's more authentic when you're not trying to change the way you look. Look at that one actress. I don't know her name. I think her name is Jodie something. But she came out in a Bonnie and Clyde type movie. Very dark skinned actress, beautiful. And she was married to a white man. They had a kid together. And now she's gone through a divorce. She didn't bleach her skin. She's not changing the norm for Hollywood. Now, don't get me wrong. I haven't seen her in any other roles. I don't know if they're going to say, oh, well, in order to be in the role, you have to bleach your skin. And I hope she tell them to hell with you. I'm not doing that because she's beautiful. And no one should change their appearance to fit the mold. No one. You are the mold. I saw something that my niece posted the other day. I think it was on Facebook. No one else has your DNA. You are you. Be your authentic self. That's tonight's conversation on Conversations of a Sister. And for those of you who tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in. And join me next week for our next conversation. I'm sure I'll drop what that is midweek. But until then, whatsoever things are good, just, lovely, honest, and pure, if there be of any virtue and any praise, I want you to think on those things. Have a great Wednesday and stay dry. Good night.